Yo, what is going on? Good morning. This is Andrew, known as ZERODRAWDREW, Pip Catcher Administration. Welcome back to another video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like this, subscribe to the channel, keep us motivated to keep putting this content out every fucking day, baby. So here we are with another weekly analysis. It is Sunday, February 13th, 2022, Super Bowl Sunday. So let's get this shit done so we could enjoy the rest of the fucking day, alright? So we're going to start with fucking gold here, right? So gold, we've been talking about this last couple weeks, obviously, right? So I've been talking about, that trend line on the daily chart. As you can see, the trend line, I was talking about this a couple weeks ago, how we kept rejecting, and the more times, trade rejects a trend line, the more likely it's to push through, right? So last week, what I noticed on the hourly chart is we had this Gartley right here, and we had support at this level. So I said to look for buy opportunities up to that high, and as you can see, we did push up to that high, and eventually we got this strong impulse through that daily trend line. So right here, looking at this, it gives me reason to believe that we might continue to make new highs. I think we might push up to the highs overall, but I do think we need to pull back and find price action before this thing can continue making new highs. So looking at, this daily trend line right here, we had this rejection right here, and then we got this strong impulse taking out that rejection. So all these sellers are stopped out. So this is what I usually look for a trend continuation. So basically, I do want to see price pull back, maybe find support at one of these key levels listed on the daily chart. 1852 we're looking at on the daily chart, and ideally 1842 on the daily chart, where that previous rejection is and that trend line retest, right? So now when we come to the hourly chart, like I said, bulls are still in control. So this is something that I might not want to jump right away, so I would want to wait for price action to form. Like I said, we're looking for a pullback to one of these key levels, is 1853 or 1842, right? But ideally, if I was looking for a trade on this, I'd wait for price to drop in, trap bears at one of these levels. Say if it dropped in, came back out, I'd look for a buy opportunity back up to one of the levels where structure forms, once it does form, right? But overall, I do think, price might want to move back down to this 1842 level. Maybe trap bears there, find price action at this trend line, and then it could make its way back up to those highs. If you're going to look for the sell opportunity, I would wait for price to push up above here, then drop back in, and then maybe short to one of those levels listed. You guys do got to keep in mind that overall we are bullish due to that impulse wave. So you might want to wait for, price to pull back, maybe find support, make structure over here, say if a pattern forms somewhere over here, give you guys reason to enter the trade, so on and so forth, right? So that is gold. We are going to explain it one more time when we get to the end of the video, but for now, just stick around. All right, so now, sorry, thirsty as fuck. So Thursday, Euro USD, right? So Euro USD, we got the strong bullish impulse wave last week, as you can see. Similar to like what happened with gold recently, right? We got that bullish impulse. So like as I talked about last week, I said we were at this double top high. I said not to look for anything, wait for price action to pull back to that support level. As you can see, price action pulled back to that support level, and we rallied up to resistance from that level. So if you guys found a buy opportunity at that support level somewhere over here, that's where it's set up. You guys could have got that buy opportunity last week due to the ideas that we sent out. So now this is a new week. So as you can see, overall we are bullish on the week due to that impulse wave, but we got this little pullback on, the weekly chart. So right now it's not reading any upward momentum yet. But looking at this daily chart, I could see that all bullish liquidity was taken at this 1.13800 high. So right now we are moving to that next level of support. So I do want to see, bears get trapped somewhere. Say if price action sets up over here within the week, if we get, push back into value, we find support, then we could probably push through those highs. But we need to wait for that opportunity to set up, right? So looking at the hourly chart, because we could find these trends better on, the smaller time frames. So basically you just want to look for the overall direction on the bigger time frames, drop it down to, a little bit smaller, see what's going on. Then, confirm it on the, really small time frame. So looking at the hourly chart, I could see that, we almost found support at that key level, right? So a buy opportunity may set up soon, right? So looking at this, I could see that all bearish liquidity on the hourly chart is below this trend line right here, and this key support at this 1.13300 and this 1.12670, right? So what I would do is, looking for this trade, is I would wait for price to drop in, then come back in, and then probably trade towards buyer liquidity, which, looking at this, is at that right shoulder at that 1.14450 high, right? So to even break it down even more, we can go into the 15-minute chart, right? Looking at the 15-minute chart, all buyer liquidity is above this level and this high right here, so you can find potential bull traps above there for the short opportunity down to one of these levels. But overall, I would wait for price to come back in, come back out, and then trade towards that right shoulder up there, right? So that is Euro USD. We're going to go over it again at the end, so stick around. And yeah, also, if you guys got any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM, Instagram.com/ZERODRAWDREW, or drop a comment. I'm more than happy to help you guys out, right? So now we're at GBP JPY. So GBP JPY, we talked about this last week too. I said that, bulls, looked like we did want to push through those highs on the weekly chart, and that's what we did. So on the daily chart, if you guys could recall, if you guys want to go back on last week's video, I talked about this level right here, this 156.005 key level. I said that it looked like we wanted to drop short term, but then find support. And that's exactly what we did. We dropped in the beginning of the week. We found support exactly where I said. We trapped bears below that trend line right there, and then we rallied through resistance, found support, and moved to those overall highs, right? So that was last week. Now we're looking at this week. So now, looking at this week, it looks like bulls are still strong. It looks like bulls still want to push through that high overall, the overall highs. So it might want to push through that high, that 158.229 key level. So we took buyer liquidity over here, but we didn't fully take buyer liquidity over there. So bulls, aren't counted out completely yet, right? But looking at the daily chart, we did get that rejection to that trend line, right? So right now, bears are in control, maybe short term. So we might want to exhaust sellers one more time before, that buy opportunity can set up. But looking at this right here, is we found support at that key level that we were talking about last week at that 156.005 key support level. So possibly that we could drop down to that level, maybe trap bears below there for the buy opportunity back up. You guys just want to look for a reaction to these trend lines listed, look for bear traps to there, and react to the levels listed. So also looking at this, is I could kind of see another crown within the crown. So there's a chance that we can drop down there, maybe find support there. But we gotta even drop down further. So when we go to the 15-minute chart, looking at the 15-minute chart, we do have this U-like pattern. So usually when I see something like this, it indicates, a little bit more downside. So looking at the daily chart, we're bearish. Looking at the 15-minute chart, it's reading a bearish move. All buyer liquidity is above these highs right here and this U resistance. So I would wait for bull traps above here to sell it down through this trend line, right? Once we get through this trend line, this is where all seller liquidity is. So I would be careful, look to take profit somewhere over there. But overall, I would look for buy opportunities when we come back into value, up to, wherever. All buyer liquidity is at this trend line, so it's probably going to push to that trend line and even higher, because on the weekly chart overall, it looks like we do want to push through, but it's not confirmed yet due to the daily chart, because we got this bearish engulfing on Friday. So we do want to wait for sellers to become exhausted to look for that buy opportunity back up, and that's that. So, like I said, we're going to go over everything again, just so you guys can get it, right? Last but not least, we're with GBP USD. GBP USD, we got this doji candle right at resistance level, as you can see at this 1.35700 key resistance right here on the weekly chart. So we got this doji candle, so we've been consolidating all week on GBP USD. On the daily chart, as you can see, we are in this range. Looking at this daily chart, we have that key support that we were talking about these past couple weeks. It's just been holding. It looks like eventually we do want to take out that support, maybe take seller liquidity down there and start to move up. But in the beginning of the week, I do think we do want to take out those lows and then maybe find support, midweek. So it really depends how we react to those levels, and then we could really make our decision based on that. Because, looking at this doji, like I said, doji means indecisive. So there's a chance that anything could happen. There's a chance that this thing could fucking crash. There's a chance that we could just blow through that trend line just like gold did, right? And that's why I like to, day trade and play with the levels and then react by day. But looking at the short-term momentum, you know what I mean? It is reading downward momentum. So like looking at this on the hourly chart, right? One thing that I do see on the hourly chart is we have this crown-like pattern. We have this bull trap to this right shoulder right here, and this is reading downside right now, right? And then when we drop it down even further, we go into the 15-minute chart. We look for where all buyer liquidity is. I do see a U-like resistance right here. So there is a possibility that we do see the bull trap over there, and then we start to move down over here and then look for the bear trap to these key levels listed. But I do think in the beginning of the week, I do think we do want to drop through all these levels, and then based on Tuesday or Wednesday, look for price action somewhere down here, and then we'll be able to see if price finds support or continues to move down based on the original move. But, due to this consolidating market, like I said, anything could happen. We did get this bull trap over here. One thing I do know, if you really zoom in and focus on what's happening, see, we got this bull trap here earlier on the week. We got this big wick over here the other day, which pretty much liquidated all those sellers, right? So this might just mean an indication that that original bearish move is good, right? That makes sense. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM at Instagram.com/ZERODRAWDREW. More than happy to help you guys out. But other than that, I'm just going to go over everything one more time for you guys. This way it could clarify everything real quick. So we're going to start with gold. Like I said, gold bullish due to that strong impulse wave to the upside, right, on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, like I said, bulls are pretty strong. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 rejections. We pushed through that trend line right there. So this is indicating strength, in my opinion. So I do think we do need to pull back first and find support before we can move to those highs. So we're looking for a reaction to these key levels listed on the daily chart, that previous resistance at 1852 and that previous rejection at 1842 and that trend line over there. So overall on the hourly chart, I do want to see price pull back, maybe find support at one of these levels listed. This is ideal, this trend line over here. Say if it drops into that trend line, comes back out, I'll set up a good opportunity to trade towards one of the levels of your choice, right? So that is gold. Euro USD, we had that strong impulse wave 2 weeks ago. Due to that double top resistance, we've been pulling back. We had this bull trap due to this at this 1.13800 support level. So we do want to look for reaction to that level. Bears look like they're in control right now on the short term. I do want to see, maybe price drop into this, level, come back out, and then trade towards that buyer liquidity, which is at that right shoulder at 450 resistance. All buyer liquidity. Also look at these trend lines and that U resistance up there. So react to the levels, play it by day, look at the overall trend, and move on, right? So that is Euro USD, GBP, JPY. Bulls do still look like they're there on the weekly chart. Bulls are still in control on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, we pulled back due to that rejection to the trend line. We found support at the 005 support. On the hourly chart, we got this crown-like pattern. All bearish liquidity is below there. All buyer liquidity is above there. Look for a reaction to levels listed. Like I said, on the 15-minute chart, we do have this U-like resistance indicating a little bit more downside. So look for a reaction there. Bear traps there or bull traps there. Play it by day and move on, right? Last but not least, GBP USD, we had this indecisive candle on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, we had this range. We had the bull trap there, liquidation over there. Is reading a little bit downside. We had this crown-like pattern over here, a bull trap to this level. So right now we are reading downside. Look for a reaction to the levels listed and play it by day. Alright guys, if you're new to this, make sure you like this, subscribe to the channel, keep us motivated to put this shit out every day. Other than that, hope you guys have a great day, fantastic fucking weekend, enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll see you guys this week. Peace.